Bates to you of the 21st of May 2013. And he says, "Hello, Paula. It's been a while since we met at James Arbuthnot's office, but at that time you did say that if I had any concerns, I should contact you directly, hence the reason for this email. Would it be possible for Kay Linnell and I to meet you? You recall that Kay is an independent forensic accountant who, on behalf of JFSA, has been monitoring the work Second Sight has been undertaking. The main purpose of the meeting is to ensure that you have been receiving the full details of what has been occurring with the Second Sight investigation. Bearing in mind what has been discovered so far, I, for one, am surprised that we haven't yet met to discuss the implications. Whilst I appreciate the majority of the issues began under previous regimes, and you've expressed a genuine willingness to address the concerns that JFSA has been raising, these issues are still continuing. I've little doubt it's now feasible to show that many of the prosecutions that the Post Office has pressed home should never have taken place. I believe this is a view shared by Kay." At this point in time, did you understand why Mr. Bates was saying that it was feasible that many prosecutions that the Post Office had undertaken should never have taken place?
I don't believe I did, because we were still waiting. The work was still very much a work in progress.
Had any of the in progress work been fed back to you, i.e. provisional views, what it was showing, early themes, emerging issues?
Not that I can recall with any clarity, because I remember being surprised about, I think slightly, what is the date of this, please?
21st of May.
Of May. Maybe not too long after this, but as we were approaching the production of the interim report, I remember being surprised about some of the conclusions that were being reached, because the criticisms from Post Office were that their work hadn't been taken into account. So I think at this stage, possibly not, other than feedback that the work was going too slowly and Post Office's input either hadn't taken place or Second Sight, there were concerns being raised perhaps that Second Sight were not taking account of it.
Would you have been very concerned reading an email like this, that the person representing a key stakeholder, JFSA, was saying that the prosecutions, and many of them, that the Post Office had brought ought never to have taken place?
I was concerned to get the email from Alan, certainly. The point he's making about the prosecutions was the point that the JFSA had made for, I now know, for a number of years, but that wasn't new news to me at this stage.
Is that how you would have thought of it, that this is just Mr. Bates saying something that he's always said?
No, not at all. I think that I went back to my team and said, because I had said to Mr. Bates that if he needed to, he should get in touch. So I don't know if there's documentation on this, but I'm pretty sure that I went back to the team and said, what should we do about this? You know, I've offered to meet Mr. Bates. What is your view?
Had you been given any inkling that anything had emerged that might undermine the safety of convictions?
No.
If we go to page 1, please, we'll see your reply. And if we scroll up, you say, I am, second paragraph, happy to meet, but can't make the suggested date. And then the third paragraph, my understanding is we're too early in the investigation to suggest that things have been discovered which call into question the integrity of the system or the validity of the prosecutions, and to suggest that at this stage would be wrong. In order to say that, you must have been told, would this be right, the stage at which the investigation had reached, and whether it was possible to say that the integrity of the system or the validity of prosecutions had, even at that stage, been called into question?
Yes.
And who were you getting that feedback from?
At this stage, I would have talked to whoever was leading the work on this. So Susan Crichton, Alwyn Lyons, I can't remember who else, Simon Baker, presumably David Oliver, whose name we've seen.
And so were you then getting feedback on the state of the investigation by Second Sight in order to be able to say, essentially, Mr. Bates, you're jumping the gun?
I'm almost certain that when I got Alan's note, that I went to the team and said, I've had this note, what's the current status? And as I say here, I would like to meet with Mr. Bates. So I suspect that's where I got that information from.